Hey friend, welcome to the Halfway to Dead podcast. I'm your host, Jen Lovell. Listen, you and I have reached that age where we are done with the bullshit. We know that midlife is our chance to flip the script and experience life on our own terms. It's time to reconnect with our higher selves and reclaim our inner peace. Are you ready with an open heart and an open mind? Awesome, you're in the right place. Hop in and ride shotgun with me on this midlife spiritual journey. Hey guys, welcome back. I just got back from a really cool trip, and so we're back in action. I'll tell you more about the trip later, but today I interviewed Lynn Harris. Lynn is a culture-shifting producer, award-winning journalist, and she's authored and co-authored 6 books. Her comedy and campaigns for social justice and gender equality have changed laws and conversations from Capitol Hill to NASCAR. She is founder and CEO of Gold Comedy, the comedy school, professional network, and content studio where women and non-binary creators grow their careers, build powerful communities, and make funny stuff. She's co-created Breakup Girl, one of the first multi-platform internet success stories. She has co-hosted a podcast with Gina Green, and she served as the first VP of communications at global human rights group Breakthrough, where her blend of humor and advocacy powered some of the team's most effective U.S. campaigns. So today, Lynn and I are talking comedy, laughing, humor. Getting funnier doesn't just change how you feel about yourself. It changes the way people feel about you. Because when you make people laugh, you make people listen. And when people listen to women, the world is a better place. And you guys know I'm down with this, right? Maybe one of your callings, something you've always wanted to do, your bucket list item is doing stand-up, or you just want to be funnier, because humor and laughing are high vibe activities. And we're all trying to raise up our vibration. If you can make me laugh, I'm in. I'm in with whatever you're talking about or doing. If you're funny, I'm interested. I'm listening. And I find that some of the funniest people have been through a lot of shit, and those are my people. Hey, Lynn, thanks for being with me, my friends, today.
Thanks for having.
So I've told you guys a little bit about Lynn and all about all the things she's done and is doing. But let's just start at the beginning, Lynn, because I got to hear a little bit of your story. Have you always been the funny one? Did this bloom at a certain time in your life? Like, were you all of a sudden the kid that was funny, or was this later in life?
The best way to be funny or funnier is to hang out with funny people. And so I was always drawn to comedy, kind of like that cartoon, that U-shaped cartoon magnet, like on Roadrunner. I always knew that was something I enjoyed. And sure, I was drawn to the clown in the Shakespeare play, or the sidekick, not the lead in the musical, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was really certainly in high school, my friends were funny. And then in college, where my friends were especially funny, where I feel like I kind of paid attention to enjoying it. And, just funny friends is just like, it is just a laugh and a half all the time. And you really just up each other's game, even though no one's competing, no one's like trying to prove anything. It's just your love language.
Was your group, like, were you all wanting to be comedians, or were you just funny?
No, not necessarily. Some, yes. But, my roommate and bestie, we were roommates all 4 years, became an OBGYN, and she's still hilarious. So,
right.
It's you never know. That's just how we were drawn to communicate.
Yeah. I think we all need at least one funny friend, don't we?
As with my roommate, people can be funny in different ways and with different styles. It doesn't mean that they're all like, hey, or doing like slapstick or like shit on the head. It's just people, especially the most fun is when you're hanging out with a bunch of people where each of you is funny in a different way, because then you just play off each other even better.
You don't have to be slapstick, like you said. Someone doesn't have to take over the room to be like the funniest person in the room, honestly. No. So you were surrounded by funny your whole life. Okay. So when did you decide this was going to be more of a career thing for you?
Always knew that the comedy or humor would be part of what I'd be doing. I always knew that. I'd be lying if I said I had a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a map. I didn't, but I knew I was drawn to being a writer. I knew I was drawn to being a performer. I knew I was drawn to comedy in some form. And I also knew I was drawn to making the world a better place. I actually thought about going to school for, government or public policy, that kind of thing. The problem was I kept thinking like, I could go there and I could start an improv team. By the way, I don't do much improv, but that was my thinking at the time. And I noticed like, do I really want to, or do I want to do comedy? And which will be my entry point? And I realized, you know what, my entry point where I'm happiest is going to be comedy in some way, entering into the world of trying to make the world a better place through comedy, as opposed to going to school and doing some shows at night. And so I am by no means a pioneer in this regard, in this field, but there are very, very many smart people, academics, strategists, organizers, from all areas of thought and academia and policy and culture, who have really figured out all of the different ways in which pop culture and comedy in particular can forward social change.
Yeah.
Can accelerate social change, can inspire social change, can make social change fun. And so that's really where I found my sweet spot to be.
Yeah. Because from early on, you saw that there were not near enough women in comedy.
I sure did. You're correct. But when I was younger, my favorite comics were, and the ones who were just like on in the house, were primarily Lucille Ball, Burnett, Goldie Hawn, Ruth Buzzy, and then all the good sitcoms, the Jeffersons, where the mom was hilarious, and Miss Piggy, but no one described them to me. I'm not sure exactly how they were, just, can't speak for other people, but no one described them to me as women comics. They were just comics. And so I didn't think about them as like, I'm going to be a woman comic. I was just going to be like, they do comedy. I want to
do it too.
And
yes.
So, and I'm sure many things were terrible for them at the time. I'm sure they were getting paid half as much. I'm sure in fact, I know that they put up with a whole lot of crap that was, ranging from unpleasant to illegal. But at the same time, it didn't feel like that was the vibe. That like, oh, well, there's the ladies over there. They're different. No, they were the superstars. And so there's a part of that vibe that I'd like to get back to. And while also building an industry that is more inclusive and fair and all the things it needs to be, because, that's better for women and it's better for, for everybody, all the others.
Yeah.
It's better. It's important because comedies work. It's important because women are people, and it's better for comedy. And then it's better for the world. As with any, really almost any industry or workplace you can think of, inclusivity and diversity are absolutely sort of morally correct, but they also give you a better product.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah.
I don't see why I don't think we have to explain that anymore, but we still do, no matter how far comedy has come, and it has come far, there is lots to do left in terms of making it a truly inclusive and fair place for everyone.
Yes, because she's got some stats on the website, you guys. Everything's in the links, but so I'll just read a couple to you because times have changed, but dudes still dominate the comedy world and access to it. Twice as many ads feature men being funny versus women. All 5 major late night hosts are cis white men. Stand-up lineups are still up to 70% men. Amy Schumer is still the only woman to ever make it on the Forbes 100 list of top-earning comedians. And SNL has 2 sketch teams making digital shorts, and both are all white dudes. Why is this still happening? I don't get it.
It's weird when you think about it. SNL
it's weird.
Has one team, but there are still all white dudes. And by the way, we love all those people.
We love them. It's hilarious. Yes.
Nothing about the individuals, but like, it is weird. I mean, it's just weird. And also, not that there aren't, to be clear, like before everyone writes you an angry email, we are well aware of the incredible success and visibility of women in comedy, that especially compared to before. Women can be Ghostbusters now. Like, that's
exactly. No, it's gotten much better. It's gotten much better. But there's still just some weird stuff that you're like, huh? Like what? For some reason, we've kept women more in daytime talk shows, and then it's the dudes at night. Yeah.
And it also doesn't mean that we're ignoring or overlooking, again, not just the strides that women have made, but the particular women who have made strides, and not just as performers, but as decision makers, as power brokers, all of those things. All of those things. But I can tell you from a far too frequent experience that I hear, I don't do stand-up anymore. I can't stay up that late, but I hear all the time from women doing stand-up that, again, they were the only woman on the lineup. Or again, there's a venerable comedy club in Boston, which is where I'm from, that's been around forever. that has done many wonderful things, and we're glad it's there. There was a show last summer, I think it was, called Chicks at Nick's. But the image for the show, again, this is last summer.
Right.
The image for the show was the faces of the women who were performing photoshopped poorly onto Barbie legs.
For God's sake.
And people said, some of the women who were performing like commented on the Instagram saying like, haha, that's funny. And that's fine. I don't really care. Anyone have whatever individual feelings they want. But overall, the takeaway you're going to get from that is that Nick's thinks women are different from the regular comics.
Right.
They're women. And also that you can and I'm sorry to drag out this dusty word, but that you can objectify them in a way that like felt almost like, am I looking at something that is not from 1985? I didn't. And so it just like, is it the worst thing I've ever seen? Absolutely not. But like, did anyone think for a second that this might alienate like, but half of their potential customers?
Right. So we're going to make changes to all this is happening. I have a lot of women out there. We're midlifers. Okay. And we're on to make changes. And this isn't you guys listening. Maybe you have dreams of being a stand-up comic. Yes. Maybe that's what you want to do in this part of life. But also, I want to talk a lot about how just these skills are life skills too, right? Because like you say, a zillion studies show that comedy skills are life skills. Professionally and personally, they help you write faster, think sharper, read a room, build confidence, connection. So this is helpful for anyone, right? To embrace their funny. And like you said, there's not one style of funny. Right? You can be very dry. I know some people who have a very dry sense of humor and I love it. There's all different ways of being funny. So tell me more about why this is such a cool life skill that we should probably start picking up on.
It's not even really kind of a binary choice between, am I going to quit my day job and run off and join the circus and become a full-time stand-up? Or am I just going to bring comedy and humor skills into my life? I know a lot of people, including women in midlife, who have found themselves somewhere in the middle where they're like, you know what, I'm not going to quit my day job. And my day job may or may not be related to comedy or entertainment. I might be an actuary. I might be a veterinarian. Like, I know both. But I also have time, whether it's because I have an empty nest or whether it's because I'm, sort of comfortable in my job status. So I'm not sort of on the grind, whatever it is. So I have time to really kind of get serious about learning comedy skills and really do some stand-up without upending everything I do, without a total lifestyle.
Oh yeah, you don't have to change it all up. You can just start to incorporate it into your life a little bit more and see if you're ready to do the rest. Okay, very cool.
And so also the other thing I'll say just for context is, my expertise, so to speak, is in stand-up in particular. And so we're kind of speaking as if we're speaking about only stand-up, which we are in part. But when I say broadly, when I say comedy, I'm talking about, late night hosting, late night writing, the people in the writer's room on sitcoms or dramedies, the people who do improv, the people who do, even people who work at agencies or brands where they need to write, brand and advertising related copy.
Yeah.
4 to 5 people prefer funny brands, prefer their brands to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us back to your original question, which is, well, why? Comedy does can, take us away or distract. All of those things. Yes. And yes, please. But but comedy and humor are also a way of actually doing the opposite and engaging more deeply. They can be an entry point or a delivery system for a difficult topic, a tough conversation, a complicated issue. So even whether you're actively pursuing comedy in any form, in a professional context, or whether you're just trying to figure out like, funny, please, how do I get it here? What are the practices and mindset shifts that I need? The opportunity to tiptoe your way into a challenging conversation where someone might be more open to you or to it, whatever it is, when there is some humor around it. Comedy and humor don't just kind of make you seem fun. They do, but they also, one of the words that comes up in some of those studies is trust. When someone is funny, when you are funny, you are better able to get people to trust you, and not in a sneaky way, because whether it's your workplace or another context, when you make a joke that is, or funny observation, whatever, that is right for the room, that is in the right moment, with the right time, with the right people, even an offhand remark. In order for everyone to get that joke, you all have to kind of be on the same page. You have to get the context, get the reference, whatever it is. And that is actually something that makes people trust you, because they see that you understand them.
Yeah, because I think you're right, because I think it breaks down walls in the room too. You've got to get to a serious subject, right, at some point maybe. But I feel like it breaks down those walls, and people, especially if it's the type of humor pointed at myself, right? And it makes everyone in the room realize you're a real person too. We don't all have to fake what's happening in the room right now. Let's just open up about it. Let's be fun about it, and then move on from there.
Another big thing you learn from doing comedy is that not everyone is your audience.
Which
is actually a great thing to learn. Like not everyone's your people, which is very freeing in a social sense. It's also very freeing if you're thinking about marketing or brand positioning. Not everyone is your person. That's fine.
Yeah.
Talk to the people who are.
Yeah.
And even my tax people, the people who do taxes for my company, I hired them. What sealed the deal? Someone recommended them, but what sealed the deal was that their website is actually funny.
Okay, I love
this. Yeah. And it made them stand out. It made me think like, oh, I don't mean to say all our accounting firms are boring, but like.
Yeah, but a lot of them are. Yeah, it's true. Sure. Yeah.
It made me feel comfortable. It made me feel like, oh, I can be real with these people about something I'm confused about. It made me feel like this wouldn't be hell. It made me feel that real people worked at the company and chose the frazzled cat gif on their website that said, taxes, am I right?
Right.
Parts of their website that had to be serious were serious.
Well, of course,
so that's the other thing people worry about also, is that if I'm funny, will people take me less seriously? Mm-hmm. And everything I've just said shows you that the answer is no.
Yeah. We're my friends listening, we're midlife spiritual journeyers. And I think, so we're already learning to listen and tap into our intuition. So this is the same kind of thing though, because you're reading a room, right? You're reading the room. You're tapping in, what am I feeling? Like, is this going to land or not? Right? And obviously there's situations where you're like, I better put myself in check a bit, but you've got to read the room. Is it going to land or not? So that's very common. We talk about it's a life skill. Getting funnier doesn't just change how you feel about yourself. It changes the way people feel about you. Because when you make people laugh, you make people listen. And when people listen to women, the world will be better and a funnier place. I think when someone is funny, they break down those walls, right? You start to listen more because you're like, I think I want to hear what this person has to say, because this could be fun and educational and all the things all at once. So I think it's a life skill we can bring into anything. Do you meet a lot of women who their humor is a coping skill? It's a survival mode skill? That's what I've found true for me, because mine started very young in childhood, where I was bringing humor into things to lighten a room, to lighten the mood, because it felt like that might be part of my job in life, right? When things were getting a little bit crazy. So do you find that's true for a lot of women?
For sure.
Like a coping skill.
So once again, there is no one type of person or woman who is a comedian, which I'm saying again to say to your listeners that like they don't have to be a certain quote unquote type of person to engage somehow more, let's say, with comedy and humor in their lives or as a practice. They don't have to be less shy. They don't have to be more loud. They don't have to be, in fact, you don't even have to actually perform comedy to sort of hang out with comedy. We have people of all ages, I will say, who are like, I just want to be near comedy. Can I just be near comedy? I don't want to get on stage, and I might change my mind. But for now, what if I learned how to edit comedy? What if I got better at doing lighting and sound? What if I took the production skills I use for other stuff and figure out how to hone them for comedy or other skills? What if I used to teach a class called humor writing for journalists? So what if I just want to add
humor into my skill set?
Right. There are so many ways you can just hang out with comedy and get the same benefits.
Right. So if someone was listening and they're like, oh, I could use a little more fun. I would love to be a little bit funnier in the crowd, or, like, do you have suggestions? How do we start down that path?
The first thing is what we've been saying, which is, and you just said it perfectly, which is don't change. Like, don't even have that thought. Like, just
no. We're trying to be authentic here, girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Because where your most authentic, overused word, but really important word, where your most authentic humor is going to come from, whatever the context, is from your actual life and your actual point of view. you also don't have to be the kind of person that crazy things happen to.
Right.
Because that's not necessarily, I mean, that's amusing, but it's not comedy. Your whole point of your entire comedy persona could be about how shy you are and how boring your life is. Like, if that's natural for you and that's kind of who you are, then your comedy persona, if you're doing stand-up, let's say, is that. It's just that, like, times 1.2. You know, you just like really lean into that. And you definitely don't have to, if someone just tells stories about all the wacky things that happen to them, it's entertaining and it could be storytelling, but you don't need that for stand-up. In fact, it's much funnier, I think, to view the same world that everyone else sees, but point out something new about it. So so step one is to forget everything you think already. Forget all the reasons why you shouldn't do this.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, one thing I always recommend, like, to everyone, I don't care how young you are, is write it down. And what do I mean by it? All of it. In other words, the snippet of conversation you overheard at Trader Joe's, an idea you have for a character in a sketch, and the reason that you write it down, these ideas for characters, ideas for dialogue, ideas for a thing that could be a joke but isn't a joke yet, is not only that you will forget, and I promise you will.
For sure.
But if you get into the habit of writing things down, you get into the habit of noticing that you're noticing all the material that's around you every day. Material is swirling around you all the time. Like, I was just drinking iced coffee and I have this mason jar, and I have lipstick on the mason jar. And I will tell you that my kids, they're always like, Mom, was this yours? And of course it's got lipstick on it. And that's not a joke yet. It's just like, okay, lipstick on everything. Okay. So,
no, but it could be. You're just noticing the world around you, everything that has potential to be fun. Yeah.
It's not lipstick on a mason jar is not inherently funny, right? There could be a sketch there where there's someone leaves her lipstick on everything and it escalates somehow. I don't know how. Or it's stand up that oops, they found it on the vodka. Now I'm in trouble. My kids found it on the.
Yes, you could work that up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but the point is I write down lipstick on mason jar and then I walk away.
Okay.
And maybe I go back to it and write something about it. Maybe I don't, but just the habit of noticing that you're noticing and writing things down actually makes you notice more things. And the more things you notice when you go back to your notebook, 5% of the things you write down are going to turn into something. But you'd rather have 5% of a ton than 5% of one page, right? And what you notice is that, oh my gosh, like, I don't live a hilarious life, but look at all the things that actually are material in my world.
Yes. Yeah, this makes sense. And you know what? Even if you're just writing it down and you're not planning on doing a stand-up act with it, this feels like a really good way to just live mindful and in the present in a fun way. Notice all the little things happening in your life. And maybe you do sit down and think, what's funny about this? I don't know. That just feels healing in and of itself, whether you ever hit the stage with it or not. And maybe you will hit the stage with it. Yeah. Okay. What else? What else we got to do? We got to write it all down. What else are we doing to get funnier?
It's worth taking a comedy class somewhere. Of course, if you take it with us, there'll be no bro vibes. That's the benefit. But really, honestly, anywhere. Or reading an article, whatever it is, there are two things that kind of have to be like taught and practiced. And one of them is, at some point, it is helpful to understand the parts of joke structure that they're universal. Of course, comedy writers deviate from them all the time. You got to know the rules before you break them, right?
Okay.
So it's helpful for people to understand, if you're curious about stand-up, it's helpful for you to understand how to set up and punch work. What's the rule of three? What's a callback? What's a tag? Like, it's helpful because then you start watching other comedians and you're like, oh, I see what they did. Okay, I understand how I can. If I'm going to write something about this lipstick on the jar and I want it to be stand-up-y, I understand what structure I can kind of impose on it.
There is a formula to funny a little bit.
Yeah, you can either use it or not, but it's there. And same with sketch. There are, several different types of, and formula is not a bad word, by the way, everybody. It's not a bad word. It's a recipe.
I love a little structure to go by. And then you wing it a little, right? Then you make it your own. But that feels safer as you're learning to do this too.
Advanced comedy writers are using these structures. They are. I mean, they just are. It's not like you graduate from them. You just get faster at them.
Yeah.
So there are several different kinds of sketches, fish out of water, character, parody.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those almost always are going to have certainly a beginning, middle, and an end. They're going to escalate. They're going to have a button. So
Yep.
if you're like, how do I write a sketch? Wouldn't you rather be looking at a structure or some options for structures that you can kind of figure out how to match with your idea?
For sure. Yeah.
Page. Yeah. So do the book learning. The book learning is really important for whatever type of comedy you want to do. The only one you really can't kind of figure out alone in your room is improv. You just must need other people. But there's still going to be tips and tricks that you can teach yourself that are about like, how do I improvise a monologue? Like, what even is that? What are the touchstones? What's the inherent structure that people can't see, but that I'm following as I improvising this, 59-second video. But you can completely learn that on your own.
Okay.
It always takes practice. They all take practice.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like once we hit midlife, a certain age, I feel like we have a lot of material under our belt, right? We have so much experience. Do you think that we arrive at a deeper or different kind of humor with age? Has it changed a bit for you as you aged? Are there certain things that were like you were not going to talk about on stage and now you do, or vice versa?
That's a good question. When you were talking, the word seasoned popped into my head. I do think women in midlife have kind of a clear sense of the underlying theme of what they're going to talk about. This is stand-up in particular. There's sort of just a constant sort of drumbeat of like things I know now that I didn't know then. Yeah. Of kind of wisdom and being seasoned. It doesn't mean they all just talk about being middle-aged or anything like that. But there's a quality that's the sheen on what they're doing. And I will say we have a popular class on developing an idea into an industry standard pitch, developing any idea, like the tiniest idea you might have that you might have had since you were a kid, or or an idea that you might have been working on in your head since the pandemic, or whatever it is, for TV, film, podcast, whatever, web series. And the person who teaches it, she's amazing. She was a producer on Broad City and Search Party, and she developed the class in a college setting and then wound up teaching it for us. And she laughs because her college students, she says, came up with these like amazing, intricate, elaborate, like sci-fi scenarios, apocalyptic things. They did this incredible like world building. Her class attracts a lot of women in their, in midlife who fit the characteristics that I described earlier, have the time, have the inclination, have the energy. And she just really notices that even if they're not writing about something or creating a project that is autobiographical, there's just something that she can tell, the years of life and wisdom and experience that go into them.
As a 20-year-old, you're going to have to make up more stuff. A little idea book is pretty full, right? Like we have real stories we can tell now. We don't really have to even make up as much, right? We know the things. Yeah, we know the things. Was there anything when you were young that you absolutely would not joke about, and then you got older and you're like, oh, this is jokeable now. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to say it now. Not really.
There have been a lot of years between then and now, but I still kind of like this. I still gravitate toward the same type of comedy and the same topics. I think the other thing that changes, though, is we definitely have a bit of a thicker skin. No, we're not made of wood. Like nobody loves to not get a laugh. Like that's.
Oh no. Yeah.
But it's. I think that we are also in a bit more of a position to be like, I'll get one tomorrow.
Yeah. Because and I feel like also as women, we've been conditioned, maybe especially some people in their younger years, to be nice, right? To be nice instead of honest. Yes. And I think that comedy, maybe an age together, kind of maybe help break that, right? Yeah. Like that, I don't have to be nice. I can say whatever the hell I want. Like I'm a grown-ass woman now. I'll say what I want.
What we're dancing around is just that we're out of F's.
That's what I'm. There you go. That's what I'm saying, Lynn. We don't give a fuck anymore, girls, do we? You're listening. My friends are listening right now. And again, you read the room, and it's not always going to hit, as in life, right? I've had moments where I thought I was going to crack up a whole room, and like everyone just looked at me, and they were strangers. Yeah. They were strangers, maybe in the old UPS store or something, and it didn't hit. And you know what? It didn't matter because. You have to get to the point where you're like, I had a good time with it, right? I cracked myself up. So that's a win for today, right? Like, we get to that age and we're basically doing that. So I wanted to bring home for everyone was even if you aren't going to be heading on stage to your local open mic night, right? That's okay. We're still trying to bring this comedy and humor into our lives. And maybe you will down the road, right? We aren't Xing that out, but maybe you just want to start building that skill because do you think, Lynn, that it opens the creative part of our mind, right? Because a lot of us get stuck in left brain, gets us more into the right brain when we start doing creative things like this comedy stuff and even documenting, writing down fun things in our lives that we may work up. Are you seeing, like, are a lot of the people taking your classes and different things aren't all just wanting to make a career, right? Is it like a life building skill going on here too?
We definitely have a big solid core of people who are very serious about their comedy dreams, plans, careers, etc. Which, by the way, are, run the gamut of, stand-up sketch, TV writing, so many different things,
Yes.
even the tech stuff that we talked about, so many things. I will say that even the people who are curious about the life skills part of it are very serious about doing the work. So yeah, the answer is yes. What we really focus on and what people find satisfying is that for us, we focus, of course, we help people build skills, but then we're like, what are you going to do with the skills? Like, what are you going to make? Are you going to make a web series? Are you going to help someone else make a web series? Are you going to do a 5-minute set? Are you going to keep doing a 5-minute set? Are you going to develop a solo show? Or are you going to just take our solo show class so that you can figure out how to do a really show-stopping keynote?
Yeah.
So there's really people come in with all sorts of goals. What we do see, though, is that they're real serious about comedy in whatever they want to get out of it for them, including skills.
You may just right now in your career, whatever, be a speaker, right? You do a lot of keynote, you do a lot of speaking. You'd like to add a little more humor in, right? You'd like to open people up a little bit more at the beginning. Maybe you've been thinking about writing a book. We've talked about Fire Horse here, guys. Like it's time to do it. All the things we've been planning, we are not too old. It's not too late. We're going to do all the things. So maybe you are thinking about writing a book, but you'd like to hone up on humor, right? Because you want to use some humor in your writing. Maybe you're going to start your podcast. You want to just get out there more. It just feels like very expansive. It's not just stand up, right? Like this skill can be brought into whatever you're planning moving forward. And maybe you're planning stand up. I think that's amazing. I think there's a lot of women who are super fucking funny at our age, and there's a whole audience waiting for you. So if that's what you're thinking, girls, like you should definitely be doing that. And again, even just these classes, yes, you're working towards a goal, but you're also opening up creativity. You're finding that spark, that joy again, right? And who knows where it'll take you? It could go anywhere. For you personally, Lynn, if you didn't have the humor you have, what would your life look like? Would it be rough? No, because has it helped you cope? I mean, because I talk about how humor can be quite the life skill when we're in survival mode. Some of us picked up our humor during that time in our life. So what would that look like for you? Where do you think you picked it up?
I don't even know. I don't even know how I would form a sentence without. My husband and I joke about how just our go-to in our brains that doesn't mean we're always funny.
Right.
It's just that our brains, our default setting is our brains going, what's the joke? What's the joke? What's the joke? Where's the joke? Where's the joke?
Oh, because you're always looking for the line. Yeah, you're looking for, yep. Always.
It doesn't mean, and we're very quiet. Sometimes we don't say it.
You're just thinking it. Yeah, that's how you go. Yeah, that's how you do.
So I don't even know. Like most of the time, thank God we don't say what we're thinking, but that's just how it is. So.
And you've been like that since you were young? Like this is a thing for you?
I didn't sort of finish this thought earlier, and I'm glad you asked, because when you said, how do you get started? Well, you have your notebook, right? And you learn the mechanics. After that, the only way to succeed or the only way to get better at it is, you guessed it, practice. So it's reps, 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 reps. I'm 57, and I've been noodling around with jokes since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And playing jokes on my parents, and my dad and I played jokes on my mom, and and just I used to think about what words are funny. I was just a big nerd. But it's practice. Like being around the funny people in college, they just make you better because you're just practicing with each other. You're all just throwing the football around together, and you're all getting better because of it. So it's been a lot of years of intentional and unintentional practice. It's the only way. All those people who, oh, you're funny, you should do stand-up. Maybe they should, but the only way they're going to succeed, no matter how quote unquote naturally funny they may be, is practicing.
You've got to practice because
So
stuff's got to land properly or it's not as funny. Yeah. Right.
just all the things, just anything.
You got to learn the rules before you break them because, yeah, that's some stuff we're probably like not aware of.
And you do get to the point where you don't really think about it, right? Like driving,
Yeah.
when you first learned to drive, you were like, okay. And we all learned on stick shift. So, we were all like, okay, clutch. Okay. Really, okay.
Yep.
Shift. Even if we were good at it, we
Yeah.
were still thinking. And only in X number of years, it's just doing it. We have a member named Rocky she's retired. She's a retired high school art teacher. She is a grandmother. She's in her 50s. She has adult children and she takes care of her grandchildren. So she's busy. And she came to us a while ago saying, and she lives in North Carolina. She lives not that far from comedy opportunities, but not that close.
Right.
So not far from Raleigh, Durham, but not that close. And she came to us saying, like, I know I'm funny, but I don't really know how to do it or how to get better. I don't know what I'm doing. Should have said a long time ago, all of our classes are online. And so she started taking our stand-up classes. And by the way, now she's taken not just all of our stand-up classes many times, but all of our classes, web series, sketch. I think there's not a class that we've offered that she hasn't taken. And is she naturally funny? She's hilarious. Like, she was hilarious the day she showed up, but she was right. She didn't know the stuff because why would she? It's like the same reason I don't know how to like be a pastry chef or a piano tuner, like, because nobody told me yet.
Right. You haven't learned it. Yeah. No.
So she took all our classes. She worked her ass off. She practiced and practiced and practiced. She jumped at every opportunity. Hey, we need someone to host this mic. I'll do it. Hey, we need someone to sub in to teach this class. I'll do it. Hey, someone else needs help with a collaborator on this. I'll do it. Someone needs to volunteer at the Black Women in Comedy Festival. I'll do it. Mm-hmm. She did everything, got all her reps in, even while she was had a very committed life with other stuff going on. And the first time I finally met her was last fall when she came to New York City to do her first solo show in a solo show festival in New York City. And she did, 40 minutes of stand up in a sort of a complete whole.
Yeah.
And she's also shooting a web series and she just did it. She just put her head down and did the work. She can still be just as funny as she was on day one, but not successful. But she wouldn't be doing all these things. She's writing for a sketch team in Durham now. And so, she's doing it.
But she's making it happen. See, you guys, it doesn't matter what age we are. Yeah, we can do it. And it doesn't matter how busy you are right now. You will find time for the things that spark your interest and your passion and you want to do it. You just work it into your life, as with anything that you want to pursue or whatever. So guys, if you're listening and you're thinking this is sparking something, you got to do some of this. Okay, because there's the website, guys, and there's all kinds of classes on there, both ones that are live online and also ones just courses you can download and self-pace. Is that right?
The basic way it works is that you pay for the year. And once you pay for the year, and most people stay 2 years or more because you're about to hear why, because when you pay for the year, you then have access to everything. Okay. You have access to all of our live Zoom classes. There's usually 2 or 3 going on at once. We have 2 open mics a week, which are friendly and supportive and offer you feedback. Online again. We have a speaker series with comedy celebrities and pros once a week. And we have hundreds of hours of on-demand content, 50 workshops, 1 or 2 hour workshops that are available on demand, everything from how to do crowd work to how to do lighting and sound for a digital sketch, because we just keep all of them. And so they're available. And so we add to the library every day.
Okay. So it's basically a membership. You're going to pay for your year and you're just going to dive in and do all the things. So this is primarily women and people who identify as women, non-binary, whatever. There's a strong feminine vibe, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
There's a few who use he and pronouns. There's definitely a bunch of cis dudes hanging around. But guess what? They're here to escape the same
there's still a like-mindedness, right, to everybody that's involved. Okay. All right. So
that's really nice.
Yes. So that's okay. So that's beautiful. And then do you have anything coming up that's not just always available? What I'm seeing something that says build and pitch any idea.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So that's coming up in June. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That one comes around just about once a quarter. And that's a premium class, meaning that it's sort of separate from joining as a annual member.
Okay.
You just pay for that class, which is different from the other classes that are included. But when you pay for that class, what's included in your tuition is everything else I just said, is the access to the...
So you're still getting in on everything else. Yeah, if you sign up for that
So
class.
it's such a different doorway in, basically. And so that's the class, Build and Pitch Any Idea with Ryan Elizabeth Cunningham, is the one that I mentioned, that is really transformative, where people come in with just a seed of an idea and leave with a complete practice polished industry standard pitch for their there's someone else working on a book, someone else is working on an audio drama, like a podcast, but it's like an old radio drama. Someone's working on it. A bunch of people are doing TV shows, film for sure, unscripted, like reality shows someone's working on. And these are not people who are comedy professionals. Let me just tell you that. Some of them have experience in one way or another, of course. One of them is a creative writing professor. There was one who was a veterinary oncology surgeon, medical doctor.
So you can jump into it. So you guys don't have to be in the industry. You could just have a really cool idea that's been rolling around in your brain for a while, and you're like, this is the year. I need to work this up. And so you're helping someone get ready to pitch it into the world, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the entire point is that the problem that we're helping you solve is the exact thing that you don't know what to do with this idea. Like, and it might even be just the tiniest spark. Like, you might just be like, dentist, but they're zombies. But if that's the idea, like, that's it. That might be all.
Right. And then you get help working that up. Like, ooh, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Okay, no, that's really cool. And what's this 30 by 30? Do you do that off and on?
Yeah, we do 30 by 30 once every quarter, and that is free, everyone. That is free. The bottom line is it's free to join. You don't have access to all the other stuff, but it's free to do this activity, which is you get a prompt to write a joke a day. And you don't have to use the prompts, but we help you by giving you a prompt. You come out with 30 jokes in 30 days. And what we really encourage people to do is not care how good their joke is. We just care that you wrote a joke or whatever it is. Like when I did it, we did it in January. And my thing for me was that I'm writing a pilot. My thing was I'm going to write a page a day. So it doesn't have to be a joke.
Yeah, just if you're setting a goal and you want to make the most of the next 30 days, right?
Yeah. Building a habit that doesn't take you very long.
Okay, yeah.
Size habit. But so many people have told us that when they did the first one we did in January, that they kept the habit. And that was our goal, that they kept the habit of generating something every single day. But then you build the habit, you build a small, you build a body of work, and you build from there. And I also kept up the habit. I work on my pilot almost every single day, even if it's 15 minutes. And so it also brings me joy. It's not just like, get it done. It brings me joy because I love to do it. It's really fun and funny.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's something cool to do. Hey, even if you're like, I don't know if this will ever land. I don't know if anybody's going to publish my show or my book. Hey, you're taking these small steps every day. Your creativity is starting to boom, open. And I think it'll give us a clearer vision of where we are heading in life and our journey and our, finishing this shit strong.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of you out there right now who are vibing with this, right? Because I always talk about how this midlife spiritual journey, like, it's not that serious. It doesn't have to be that serious, you guys. We can bring fun to anything, as we should, right? And would you say this is true? I find some of the funniest people have been through the most shit. Yeah. I think a lot of people, if you've had a pristine, wonderful childhood and life, I don't know that you're heading into comedy. I don't know. It feels like, to me, the funniest people I meet have been through some stuff, right? And they're able to talk about it in a funny way and present their own life authentically through the humor. Because like you said, it brings down walls. It makes people listen, makes people interested in what you have to say, right? And that can only be good because then more people are going to listen to what you have to share. What's my take on it, Lynn?
It's also part of your own journey. If and when you're able to find the humor in something, an experience in your life that was not at all funny and maybe even painful.
Yep.
What that means is you have done an exercise in actually distancing yourself from it, in actually being able to kind of hold it in a healthy way, actually hold it at arm's length and kind of turn it over and be like, no, really, what is funny about this? It's never about like making fun of who suffered from this. That's almost never funny. Pretty much, I'm going to say 100% never.
It's not funny. No.
But finding what is ridiculous about this and what it like about the bad guy in this, or about the culture that enabled this thing, whatever it is, to happen. Or you can always find the villain. You can always find something funny that doesn't diminish the seriousness of what happened, but rather uses humor to illuminate.
First, you guys know that. But I find that if I can dig up my shit, distance myself from it, find something funny about it, find something to laugh at it, it takes the power away from that, right? It gives me back the power of that situation. It takes the power away and is healing. I mean, like laughing and humor is healing, period. End of story, right? Whether you make it your career or just implement it into your life in a really consistent way, it's healing and it opens things up in the whole world. And if you're a funny person right now, and again, there's no one kind of funny. We already talked about that, right? You might think like, I don't know if I'd get a lot of laughs. I'm kind of dry. I'm kind of quiet. Oh, no. Your people will connect with you and be like, no, I get it. I get it. And that's fucking funny. I don't want anyone to change themselves. I want you to just embrace your authenticity and maybe move forward with it in a fun way. That's what this whole thing's about, right? Like, we're not changing anybody. I don't want anybody to change. But I think we could all use a little more humor in our lives. And like I just said, if you've got situations you're digging up and doing the work on right now, you might want to take the power away from whatever's happened to you and make it funny and connect with others around you and heal them at the same time. In general, this whole world's going to be better if we can all laugh together, open up together, all the things. Oh, God, Lynn. All right, listen, all of her stuff's in the show notes. And there's even a coupon code, I believe. Right, Lynn? You gave us a coupon code. There's a coupon code, you guys. So if you want to get in on all this, if this is resonating with you, we can heal and grow in our journeys in a million different ways. Right? And comedy, I find to be a really great one. So yeah, move forward with it. Do you have any parting, like inspirational to get us all going down our little fun comedy road here, Lynn? Us midlifers?
Honestly, I have very little to add to the inspirational speech you just gave.
Lynn.
Which is if you don't think you're ready, I will just say you're ready now. You're ready. There's nothing else to learn to add. First of all, you've learned enough.
For fuck's sake, yes, we have.
There's no, and no one ever died from not getting a laugh.
No, and we're over this judgment thing anyway, you guys. Like I things don't land for me all the time, right? So there's like wrong crowd, Jen. But you know what? Again, I walk away like I kind of enjoyed it though, and that feels like a win, right? Jen's not everyone's cup of tea. Right? And that goes for you listening too. You're not everyone's cup of tea either, but we don't care. That's the whole point of this world. We're not all supposed to be the same. We're not all supposed to laugh at the same shit. So just find what you find funny. And I guarantee there's a large group of people that will find the same shit funny.
I would say it's like math. It's probability, right? And we're not in high school anymore. We're not changing ourselves to fit with people. We're being ourselves and our people will show up and stay.
And and they're going to find us and they're going to, I mean, just like you guys found this podcast and me, like whatever, you hang around because this resonates with you, right? And some people may have listened to it once and been like, hell no. And they never came back again. I'm cool with that. Like, it's okay. I only want the people here that want to be here and find this stuff really cool and fun. And well, Lynn, this has been so good. All right, you guys got to look into this. I don't know. This sounds like a lot of fun. And it feels like a really cool way to open up if that's what you're trying to do, right? In your journey right now and be more creative and have a little more fun. Maybe write a cool book. Maybe your book gets jazzed up a little bit funner. Yeah. Or your podcast or I don't know, whatever the hell you're doing. So this might be for you guys. You have a huge group of amazing mentors, right? On the site. So so there's lots of people to mentor you because like I tell you all the time, all of this stuff in this journey, we can do it alone, but why? But why the hell would we? Right? When there's people who have come before us and have already figured the shit out. You know what I mean? Like, come on. We don't have to start from scratch on anything, including becoming a really cool comedian. Yeah. All right.
Raise your hand if you think Jen should take stand-up.
You know what? I thought about it. I've been like, you know what? I could hone in some skills for sure, man. There's people listening probably like, yeah, you probably should. Because I got things in my brain right now. I'm like, yeah, I could jazz that up a little bit. Yeah.
Yep. Door's always open.
We tell you guys all the time, things will come into your life as they're meant to, right? And you'll feel into it and like, is this the right time or not? As long as your mind is open and you go, wait, that feels like that could be for me. Well, Lynn, thank you so much. This has been really cool. And I hope this resonates with some of you guys out there. And you look into all this. This could be cool. Even just dipping a toe in with the 30 by 30, right? Just some prompts for 30 days to spark your creativity. And then maybe by the end of it, you're like, all right, I think I do want to do more with this. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you taking the time out to chill out with us today and talk about all this fun stuff.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now, I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. You know, the legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.